You know, over the past year and a half, I guess 2 years, a lot of terms have been thrown around, whether it be the news and newspapers, et cetera. Things like lis pendens, short sale, REO property. What do some of these terms mean, basically? You know, and you know, how can they be applied?
I'll take the first one. The next two, whatever. Lis pendens is basically a foreclosure term where it's a land term that means that it's notification of a lawsuit. It means that it is putting people on notice that there is an action on that house and the title of the house.
Okay.
So that way, if someone is looking to purchase it or make a transaction with the current owner of the house, it is subject to that litigation. That's basically what lis pendens means. REO or OREO, as we call it in the bank, is not a cookie. It's other real estate owned. What REO means is that a bank has taken title to that property, taken it from the original owner, and has put it into their own portfolio.
Okay.
So it's real estate owned. That's what REO would stand for.
Gotcha.
There's a great incentive now for the banks not to take real estate in, because they will be in the same position that anybody else will be in. If there's not a good market, they're going to be holding it. So banks are willing to make more deals with homeowners to allow them to stay in the property and have some suspension of payback during a period of time, as long as there is an indication that the homeowner at some point will be able to pay it back.
Okay.
I think the other term you threw out was short sale.
Yeah, exactly.
Short sale is when you sell the house for less than what you actually owe on it as far as debt or mortgages. So, in other words, if you have a $100,000 house, it's worth $100,000, but you have $150,000 in debt on the house.
Right.
The short sale means that you're selling it only for $100,000, not for the full amount of the debt.
So the bank has to approve something like that, I assume?
Well, the bank has to approve it, but it's always a condition of either like Henry said, either you take it into inventory or you make a deal and you move forward. The banks don't want to hold real estate. That's not their primary business.
They're not real estate brokers. That's not what they're in the business for.
That's not what they do. What people have to be wary of, though, is that when there is a short sale, it doesn't necessarily obviate them from their remaining obligation on the differential on that. In other words, that $50,000 in our previous example, the bank can still go and get a deficiency judgment against you personally.
Okay.
And try to recapture that money. Now, is it a popular tool? No, but it does happen. So you have to realize that because you owe $150 and your house is worth $100 doesn't mean you walk away because you sold it for $100. There may be other repercussions.
Okay. You mentioned lis pendens before. I mentioned lis pendens before, and you were able to speak about it. You know, it's one of the first part, I guess, in the foreclosure process. If one of you just wants to go into detail, or not detail, but if one of you just wants to go into the steps involved in a foreclosure process, for anyone out there, unfortunately, who might be experiencing it, or might, you know.
Well, just as a general point of reference, in New York, it takes 12 to 18 months to foreclose on a property. Okay. Specifically in New York City, they are bogged down with some properties, plus it's a long process. Once you file the lis pendens on the property or you start the suit, what happens is that you got to petition the court. This would be the bank or the person who owns the property petitions the court for a referee. Okay. Referee is one that's going to take into account the house, what it's worth, what they could sell it for, try to accumulate all the debt, understand the whole picture. They're the court-appointed person to do that. That process could take about 6 months, just to get to. Between the time you file the action and you make the motion and you get a referee, could be 6 to 9 months just at that point. At that point, you have to go now and you have to advertise into the, if you're going to do a foreclosure sale, if you got past that point where the referee's there, you have to advertise in the paper, tell them the notice of foreclosure sale, and then they would go down. I mean, I'm skimming some steps, but then they would go down to the courthouse and then be an open auction at that point.
Okay.